Nomination of the Business Committee, I call on Jackie Blue to make her valedictory statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I completed my medical degree back in the early 80s, neither I nor anyone around me could have predicted that I would end up in politics and then move on to be Equal Employment Opportunity Commissioner at the Human Rights Commission. But life is full of twists and turns and, most importantly, opportunities, though we may not recognise them as such at the time. The opportunity to get involved with the National Party came in 2001. When advocating for breast physicians, a role that I had pioneered in New Zealand, I had a chance meeting with Bill and Mary English. I became actively involved in the party in 2002 after the general election. It was an exciting time to get involved. The party was regrouping and reviewing its constitution. After the encouragement of the National Party leader at the time, Dr. Don Brash, I put my name forward as a candidate in the 2005 election. I was truly delighted when I was selected to stand in the Mount Roskill electorate. With my health background, I joined National's health team. Tony Ryle was the health spokesperson. Tony was and is a great mentor. I know many of our colleagues were very envious. Tony put the health team to work, giving us a range of health responsibilities. I had access to medicines portfolio and, because of my background, breast cancer-related issues. As a new MP in 2005, Herceptin became high profile, with many countries funding a 12-month course for a particularly aggressive form of breast cancer. It was being used for treatment in metastatic breast cancer in New Zealand, but the trials were showing that it was reducing death in early-stage, newly diagnosed breast cancer. I am grateful that Tony gave me the opportunity to advocate for 12 months Herceptin funding for women with breast cancer in New Zealand. I was extraordinarily proud when John Key made this a National Party election 2008 promise. Yeah. One of the most marvellous memories from my time in Parliament was shortly after the November 2008 election, when I joined Tony as the new Health Minister and key officials from the Ministry of Health and Pharmac. The meeting was to work through the logistics of ensuring that the women who needed Herceptin had access to it by Christmas 2008. The timing was very tight, but it was a case of yes, Minister, at its very best. Everyone worked together to ensure the policy rolled out smoothly. With the results of recent trials, time has proved that funding 12 months Herceptin was the right decision. 12 months is considered to be the international gold standard. For Pharmac to continue to support financially a trial that offers a 9-week Herceptin course is, in my opinion, dubious and possibly unethical. In my first term of Parliament, Tony Ryle and I had the opportunity to advocate for enrolled nurses. This iconic nursing workforce had been increasingly marginalised, forced out of acute hospital services, their training limited to the very narrow scopes of long-term care and rehabilitation, as well as undergoing a name change to nurse assistant. The name change was detrimental. The nurses felt demeaned, undervalued and demoted. A concerning consequence was that the numbers of students in training dropped significantly. There were reports that had caused loss of confidence and confusion with the public and prospective employers. The New Zealand Nurses Organisation took the case to the Regulations Review Committee, which did support that the enrolled nurse name should be retained. In late September 2008, the Government made a notice of motion in Parliament that required the Nursing Council to change the name. Expanding the role and training of enrolled nurses became a 2008 election commitment for the National Party, and when Tony Ryle became the Minister of Health, he set about implementing that policy. I really connected with the enrolled nurses' story. They had faced ignorance and prejudice. Their battles had been my battles when I was establishing breast physicians in New Zealand. Regrettably, the numbers of breast physicians in New Zealand has not grown as it should, and it is my sincere hope that this will change as professional colleges accept the huge contribution that breast physicians bring to the multidisciplinary breast cancer team. Early in 2008, I met with a group of refugee and migrant doctors who were meeting regularly at the Auckland Regional Migrant Service, or ARMS, in Mount Roskill. The group had been struggling to get registration with the New Zealand Medical Council. They were frustrated that we did not have a bridging program like Australia. Over several years, they had made successive approaches to health ministers without making any traction. They were meeting regularly at ARMS to study and support each other. And I'd like to acknowledge the amazing support that Dr. Mary Dawson and Anna Pfeiffer-Hull from ARMS have been providing to this group. Without their support and encouragement, I'm quite sure this group would have disbanded long ago. My heart went out to these doctors, and after the election, I re-established contact with the group and began to meet with them each month. I went back to Tony Ryle and said we simply had to do something for them. Tony was very supportive and agreed that I could start investigating options, and I began discussions with the Ministry of Health and the Medical Council. However, when Professor Des Gorman, Chair of Health Workforce New Zealand, got involved in the latter part of 2009, the project developed a momentum all of its own. The NZREX Preparation Placement Program began in 2011 and has been hugely successful, with 33 out of 38 migrant doctors passing the Medical Council registration exam. This program has been truly life-changing for those doctors and their families. Mr. Speaker, the public would be very interested to know that our Parliament exists in an alternate reality. This parallel Parliament is full of cross-party committees and friendship groups. It is a place I've inhabited since I've been an MP. It is a happy place, Mr. Speaker. It is a place where MPs work collaboratively towards common objectives. I have found it immensely satisfying and stimulating. I recall a retired senior national minister telling me that one of the most satisfying times of his career was when, as a result of a crisis, government and opposition MPs worked together to broker a solution. Of course, I knew exactly what he was talking about, because this is my experience in the cross-party groups. The thing is, you don't need to wait for a crisis. The chance already exists. The opportunity to chair 3 cross-party groups has been truly life-changing for me. All 3 groups, the New Zealand Parliamentarians Group on Population Development, or NZPPD, Commonwealth Women's Parliamentarians, or CWP, and Parliamentarians for Global Action, or PGA, have a strong human rights focus. NZPPD, in particular, is specifically focused on women's sexual and reproductive health and rights, domestic violence, and our overseas aid in Pacific countries. CWP is focused on improving the number of women in Pacific parliaments. I co-chaired with Louisa Wall. PGA has a strong focus on human rights, the rule of law, the International Criminal Court, gender and democracy. Mr. Speaker, it has been the work of these committees that has left me utterly convinced that society must back its women and girls. Women make up 1/2 of the world's human capital. No society can achieve its full potential when half the population is denied the opportunity to achieve theirs. Empowering and educating women and girls is fundamental to succeeding and prospering in an ever more competitive world. This is particularly true in developing countries, but is also absolutely relevant in developed countries like New Zealand. As women progress, everyone in society progresses, including men and boys. Tapping into the potential of women and girls is not only the right thing, it is a smart thing. Sexual reproductive health and rights and education go hand in hand. When women have the opportunity to control their fertility and have access to reproductive health services, they are more likely to stay in education, get employment and provide for their family. Education leads to more choices and opportunities. Mr. Speaker, the cross-party groups that I am involved with are very excited about the Gender Equality Statement that our government signed along with other Pacific parliaments last year in Rarotonga at the Pacific Leaders Forum. All leaders, and that includes Australia and New Zealand, have agreed to implement specific national policy actions to progress gender equality in the areas of government programs, decision-making, economic empowerment, health, education and ending violence against women. The leaders agreed that progress in these areas should be reported on at each forum leaders meeting by way of a performance monitoring framework. We are all looking forward to having a robust measure by which we can track New Zealand's progress in gender equality. Mr. Speaker, we are a House of Representatives, but unfortunately, as it is, we do not truly represent all New Zealanders. If our Parliament perfectly represented our diverse society, we would have 8 Pacific MPs, we have 5, 3 Indian MPs, we have 2, 8 Asian MPs, we have 3, 1 Middle Eastern, Latin American or African MP, we have none. 18 Māori MPs, we are doing well in this area, we have 22. And of course, Mr Speaker, we would have 50% women MPs. The fact is, we only have 33% women MPs. This is unacceptable in the 21st century. We can and we must do better. I am very appreciative that Maggie Barry will be taking over my member's bill, the Marriage Court Consent to Marriage of Minors Amendment Bill, which proposes to change the Marriage Act such that minors 16 and 17-year-olds who wish to marry need to now get the consent of the family court. The current situation is that minors only require parental consent. This bill arose out of the concern that some minors, predominantly young girls, are being coerced into marriage. I was very grateful that Judith Collins came out in strong support of this bill. In December last year, an interagency response for victims of forced marriage in New Zealand was agreed upon to enable them to work together to support these young, vulnerable victims. And on a personal note, I'd like to thank Judith for the support she gave me when I made the decision to promote the Shine organisation helpline by going public with my own experience of domestic violence. Thank you, Judith. She was and is a tower of strength. I have talked a lot about opportunity, and I'm so grateful that I have had the most extraordinary opportunities as an MP. I am tremendously excited about my new role as Equal Employment Opportunity, or EEO, Commissioner, and I would like to acknowledge the former Commissioner, Dr. Judy McGregor, whose work in this area has been simply outstanding. Prime Minister, you will be pleased to know that the EEO policy in the workplace fits perfectly with the government's business growth agenda. There is strong, irrefutable evidence that it improves productivity and innovation. Our future workforce will be increasingly diverse, and the fact is, it is in our best interest to manage it well. EEO policy is mandated in the state sector, but it needs to become part of normal practice in the private sector. Indeed, many successful New Zealand businesses cite EEO policy and practice as giving them the competitive edge. Mr Speaker, there are many people to thank. My gratitude goes to my team in Mount Roskill, the Northern Region National Party and all the volunteers, but I would particularly like to make special mention of Ram Ray and Jim Stevens. My sincere thanks goes to my parliamentary staff, Denise Tustin and Kristen White, who have given me the most wonderful support. I would like to thank all the parliamentary staff that keeps this place functioning, particularly the Parliamentary Library and the Travel Centre, which provide an amazing service. I'd like to thank my taxi driver, Stefan, aka the Silver Fox, and Arta, who got me safely on time to many engagements. Thank you to the class of 2005 MPs for your wonderful friendship and support you have given me. It is something I'll always treasure. Thank you to my friends who have made the special journey here to Wellington, and a special note, thank you to Mark, Karen, Spencer and Nick Withers. My heartfelt thanks goes to my husband Dave Miller and my beautiful daughters Jess and Paddy, who I'm just so very proud of. I honestly could not have done any of this without you being solidly by my side. My husband Dave has a building background, and each election year he was in charge of hoardings. Dave has become quite famous in the Northern region. The hoarding structures he built were indestructible. No matter if an opposition hoarding built our one out, Dave would just rebuild ours taller than before. They were creatively built and absolutely straight, as Dave insisted on a spirit level. I'm sure many should have had a resource consent. Mr Speaker, I've always said if I could leave Parliament with my family, health and reputation intact, I was doing all right. I like to think I've achieved that. I would like to thank the Prime Minister for his leadership over the last 4 years, which has been extremely tough. The economic recovery has had to take centre stage. There has been no one better placed to lead this recovery than you, Prime Minister. I'm very proud of the National Party. I'm proud that the visions and values of this party were founded on a strong human rights framework. The right to be safe, to have equal opportunity, to be free, have choice, are all fundamental freedoms. They remain as true today as they did 75 years ago when the party was formed. I wish you all well. Thank you.
Order. The House is suspended for the dinner break. I will resume the chair at 7:30 p.m.